Good evening, everybody. 7:30 on Thursday evening. Wanted to come here and give you a little update on case 3. So we got case 3 filed yesterday. We got a hearing from the judge in that case set for tomorrow, but we're not going to have the need for a hearing for tomorrow now because there's going to be an order entered without having to have that hearing, granting the temporary restraining order on behalf of all individually named plaintiffs in the case. And so I suspect first thing in the morning, sometime 9, 10, 11 o'clock, the judge is a busy man, I'm sure. He will sign the proposed order that we've already prepared and submitted to him, and that order will be entered, again, first thing tomorrow. As soon as it's entered, I will get it and I will send a copy of it to each of you, whether you're an FFL or whether you're just a citizen who wants to exercise your rights and go buy something. You'll be free to do so as soon as the judge enters that order tomorrow. Okay. So again, you're individually named plaintiffs in this case, and you can, without question, go out and acquire anything from any of these FFLs that want to sell to you. We will have a complete list of all FFLs available in case 1, case 2, and case 3. They'll be listed by county, and you will get from Ryan tomorrow a copy of the judge's order that has your name attached to it as a named plaintiff. And without question or reservation, you're free to go do what it is you want to do. Okay? So I wanted to let you know about that. The cases are still proceeding. Working on that, working on the discovery, working on the other things related to these cases, and we'll get it taken care of, and we'll do the best we can to not let some of these sideshows distract us. Okay, so that's really all I had, and I'll post something, and Ryan will post something out here to let you guys know that, again, we're not going to have a hearing. The governor's office and the attorney general's office have they conceded that the court will grant that order. And again, we have the precedent from the 5th Appellate District that pretty much binds them. And so rightfully so, the Attorney General's office and I agreed that there's no reason to go down there and have a hearing about something that we already know the end to. So, okay. That's all I had on that. They will, let me see if I got any questions. I didn't have anything really else to provide. Yeah, you can take your AR-15 to the range if you want to. You could have done that anyway, technically, without this temporary restraining order. Let me see here. My buddy Jason, I guess did you get on the list, Jason? I didn't read the names in detail. I'll make sure I don't have any questions, you guys. Case 3 was filed in Effingham County, the same place that case 1 was filed. Procedurally, there's reasons for that. I don't remember who. Brian Quinn asked that question. Effingham County. Judge Chad Miller is the judge. I think that's about it, guys. So, again, I don't really have a whole lot more to add. It was pretty short and sweet tonight. So, I mean, you can't, if you say you're a plaintiff in one of the cases, but you haven't received an email, obviously, if you're a plaintiff, you've received an email because you had to receive an email in order to be a plaintiff. This happens a lot where if you guys are getting an email, because there's so many of you, we email you through software that does that. And Ryan can chime in here in a second. It's info at, I think, DeVoreLawOffices.com. You have to go into your settings and make sure that it's not recognizing that email as spam, you guys. Because when you say you're not getting them, you're getting them. They're just getting blocked and sent away someplace else. So make sure you double check that, okay? Because it's not possible for 99% to get an email and one not. It's just, you got to make sure those filters are not doing that, okay? Let me see here. Janice, you have to carry around all 2,000 pages. The answer is no. The actual order that you'll get a copy of, I think it's about 50 pages long because it has the list of all the individually named plaintiffs in it. So it's not that long. You'll be fine. Yeah, we're working on the Guardians of Liberty group. Let's talk about the Guardians of Liberty. That's a good question. Who asked that? Shannon. Here's the thing about social media, and we'll talk about Facebook for a second. When we set up a private group like the Guardians of Liberty and we're talking about firearms, these liberal bums that run these social media thing, they don't like that. So they constantly are threatening to shut us down because we have a private group that wants to talk about their firearms rights. So Ryan is in the process of right now actually building a private group. It's technology. You guys know I'm an idiot when it comes to technology. So I'm a lawyer. I'm not a technical genius. I'm stupid to most of it. But he's building this private group that we can all become members of so we can talk about these things in a social setting similar to like this Facebook nonsense. But we don't have to worry about getting shut down because they constantly are sending threatening messages that we're talking about firearms. Shit. So that's why if you see Guardians of Liberty on Facebook has been suspended, it's because Ryan for now has turned it down or temporarily turned it off, because otherwise they're going to shut all of our social media down because we're talking about firearms. That's the short version to that. Yeah, it's at El Hernandez. Yes, you will. If you go right now, guys, if you go to our website, every document that you might ever want to get is on our website. Okay, on the website. And so there is a list in case 1, there's a list in case 2, and there'll be a list in case 3 of, Ryan, I'm assuming somewhere can aggregate those together, of all of the FFLs that are part of these cases. Again, you don't have to wait for it to be sent to you. If you go to DeVoreLawOffices.com, you can find every document that's available out there for you guys to get a hold of, okay? Yes, Daniel, the new group will be separate from Facebook. It has to be because Facebook won't let us have a group called the Guardians. I mean, Guardians of Liberty, they don't care, but we're talking about firearms rights, and that's a violation of their policies because somebody talks about weapons. And so it's, Ryan's already got the nasty, warnings that, we're going to, and they won't just shut down Guardians of Liberty. They'll shut down all of our social media. So sadly, that's what we've got to do. Troy, I don't know the exact number. That's probably pretty close, brother. I don't count those numbers, but that's probably somewhere pretty close, I'm guessing. Mike, there's a temporary restraining order that'll be granted tomorrow on behalf of all named plaintiffs in case number 3. I'll have that done tomorrow. You guys are all talking about what social media platforms to do the Guardians of Liberty. You guys, I don't know any of that stuff. So you can say over there anything you want, and I wouldn't know what any of those platforms are. Okay, let me make sure. I think that's about it, you guys. Steve, the answer to your word on the consolidation, we're working on that. And I've got some strategical ways that I'm going to do that and work on that benefits everybody and keep some of this sideshow stuff, the risk of it minimized. So I'll be giving you guys more up to date on that next week, middle of next week. But I'm working on it, just so you know. Who said that? Somebody asked. Kathy says, do you ever sleep? Not too much, to be honest with you. I probably get a little more than Ryan does because he does a lot more of the communicating than I do. TROs will last until this case comes to an end, right? So the in my opinion, the TROs are going to last long until this case comes to an end and we get to the Supreme Court of the state of Illinois where they're going to address these issues. So it could take several months. So in the meantime, all of you that are now free under the restraining order, not bound by this law, you have the ability right now to go out and acquire whatever you want. I mean, that's what you guys hired me for, right? I mean, we're working on getting this law completely eradicated. But as of January 10th, you were going to be breaking the law if you went out and bought something. You're not breaking the law anymore. So again, you hired me. That was the job that I went and got accomplished for you. So I hope you take advantage of it. Okay. And the quick update is case 3 TRO will be entered in the morning. We don't have to have a hearing. The judge is just going to enter it and sign it and send it back to me, and I'll get it to you guys. Okay. No, you can't still join, Erica. The end. I mean, that's all long over with now for people having the opportunity to join, ma'am. Is there a court date set for case 1 besides the TRO? That's a fair question. The answer is that there's a status hearing set right now for February 22nd at 1 o'clock. There's what's called a status hearing to see how the discovery is going and things of that nature, because now that we've started getting into the weeds about what's going on, we're going to do some discovery, as I told you guys. The court will have a status hearing every so often to just keep the court up to date on what's going on, whether the court needs to be involved in any issues with discovery. That's kind of how most cases proceed. And so, again, there's a status hearing set for the 22nd. But during all of these times where we're working on these things, the restraining order is still in place, you guys, okay? Let me make sure here. Again, I didn't have a lot to add. I just wanted to try to answer your questions. Said that Greg asked about the association, the Guardians of Liberty. Again, we actually created a real association. We didn't create some fiction. There's a real association. And if you are a plaintiff in one of these lawsuits, an actual named plaintiff, you have the ability to agree in writing by actually signing something that I'm a member of the association, right? And so you will get an email from Ryan if you are a named plaintiff, have the opportunity to join the Guardians of Liberty. You'll get that from him. If you're in case 1 or 2, you likely got it already. If you're in case 3, you probably haven't received it yet because Ryan's getting to that. But again, only named plaintiffs have the opportunity to agree in writing to join the association. Again, it's a real association. You can look it up in Illinois Secretary of State. I organized it, set it up. We've got bylaws. We got board of directors. We've got the whole works. It's a proper organization, you guys. Okay? Doesn't cost anything. Yeah, somebody said, there's that whole long list that has all the names of the people, and it has the city and it has the county. If you see one of them got transposed because it's a long list, it doesn't affect you at all. Your name is still on there. And, we have all your accurate information. So that's not an issue at all whatsoever, guys. Don't worry about that. Jeremy, is that Jeremy? No, that was Mark Nichols. That technical question that you asked, we're not going to talk about technical questions that wouldn't even present themselves for at least another 10 months. So if we get to the end of the year and we're still in the situation, brother, we'll talk about that then. But for right now, I'm not going to confuse people talking about hypotheticals that may happen, but the chances are small. Okay. So I understand it's a good question, actually, and I appreciate that you're thinking at that level of detail, but I don't want to confuse anybody right now. Mandy, out of curiosity, which case had the most plaintiffs, unmasking or pew pews? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. That's a question that Ryan might know the answer to, but I don't remember, any of that information. So I don't know, but pew pews, I like it. Pew pews, that's awesome. Yeah, Justin, we'll get the complete list of all FFLs sorted by county for all of you guys, and it'll be on the website. Okay, it won't be, probably won't email it. It'll be on the website. But Ryan may email it out to everybody again. He handles that technology stuff. I don't know what email you're talking about, Teresa. I don't have an email, and it's not in junk or spam. I'm not sure which email you're talking about. If you're in case 3, and I apologize, I can't keep track. If you're in case 3, you'll get an email after the judge enters the TRO tomorrow. Okay. If you don't get that email sometime by early afternoon tomorrow, send Ryan an email. But if you could all right now who are looking for emails, Ryan, can you type over there in a thing what email address they actually have to go in and make sure they mark as not as spam? Thank you, Teresa, plaintiff 3. Put that over there, Ryan. What is that email that you have to put that you get some way in an email? You can say this email is not a spam address. There it is. info@DeVoreLawOffices.com. info@DeVoreLawOffices.com. Go into your email, and however, I don't know how to tell you to do that because I'm technologically not very bright. Turn it on to where that email address is marked not as spam. That way it won't try to filter it out and keep you guys from getting it, okay? Yes, we're going to do a federal case. We're working on that, but I'm trying to not interfere with a couple of those cases that are doing a really good job, you guys, of pursuing some federal Second Amendment stuff. But yes, we don't have to get, the federal stuff takes a lot longer, you guys. It doesn't work as fast as how very effective we're being with the state law stuff, right? It's very quick, it's very effective, and so the Second Amendment stuff and the federal stuff is important, but that's not going anywhere, okay? When I say it's not going anywhere, that argument's going to be here for some time. So, but yes, we're actually working on that. Yeah, again, a lot of you are talking about the email issue. Again, I don't pretend to understand the email issue, but if you think you're supposed to be getting an email and you absolutely don't see it, as you guys always know, Ryan loves your email. So email him at ryan@DeVoreLawOffices.com or info@DeVoreLawOffices.com. Say, Ryan, I don't see the email. And you guys can sort that out because I don't pretend to understand it. There, Gene says a good idea. Add them to your contacts in your email, and it will come straight to your inbox no matter what. There you go. Gene Miller, he had the answer. So. Trish asked the question, and it's outside the scope of our case, but it's an interesting topic to me, so I'll talk about it briefly. Trish is talking about the ability to be able to acquire weapons if you have a medical marijuana card or if you have something to do with marijuana. That case, and I haven't read the case in detail, but there was just a federal case out in Oregon, I believe, to where the court addressed something to do with marijuana, and they were evaluating Second Amendment rights under the new Bruin case. Again, you guys have heard me talk about Bruin. It's a United States Supreme Court case from June of last year. And that Oregon judge said that you couldn't restrict someone's rights to possess and purchase weapons or infringe on their Second Amendment rights in some connection with marijuana. I don't know if it was a marijuana card or maybe someone had some minor possession charge. I'm not sure exactly. Again, I've not read the case, but Trish, that is a conversation that's going on. It's certainly not something that I've chosen to deal with here in Illinois yet. It's well beyond the scope of anything we're doing, but it is a conversation that's going on. There's a lot of cases across the United States now that are happening in the federal courts dealing with, regulations of firearms under Second Amendment jurisprudence. Now that we have the Bruin, New York State Rifle Association v. Bruin case, it really altered the landscape and is very protective of Second Amendment rights. And so there was another case out of Texas that said that, someone who has had a restraining order or has a restraining order against them, their rights to bear arms under Second Amendment can't always be infringed under those circumstances. That's going to be a big deal too, and as that proceeds through the court. Vernon, that's an excellent question, Vernon. I love it when I read stuff and people I see, they're thinking, if this law is struck down more quickly in the state court, or the federal lawsuits then stopped or invalidated. It depends. I mean, they may be moot, right? They could. If we get this case struck down in the state court, like permanently, which is what we're working on, does that make it necessary for these federal cases to pursue Second Amendment claims? It may not be necessary anymore, Vernon. It's potentially the case, yes. So, and that's something that we're thinking about too as well. So it's possible. That's absolutely possible, Vernon. Good question. Michael Folsom asked the question about could the Supreme Court, intervene on the temporary restraining order issue before a final ruling is issued. Technically, it's possible. Yes, there's yet to be a request for the Illinois Supreme Court to review the temporary restraining order that was then upheld by, if you recall, the temporary restraining order on case number 1 was then upheld by the appellate court, right? That was been what, a week or two ago? As of yet, there's been no request by the governor or any of those the state, defendants to ask the Supreme Court to reconsider that ruling. They've not asked. Could they ask? They could. The fact that they haven't asked yet, does that mean they're not going to? It's not for certain, but what I've expected they would have asked, sometime shortly after that ruling, would have thought so. But Michael, the answer is yes, technically it's possible. Are they going to hear it again before a final ruling on this temporary nature? I don't have the answer to that yet, sir, but that was an excellent question too. No, Sean, I don't have time to deal with cities right now. The city of Aurora, again, I understand their issue, and there could be a legal issue there, certainly. But again, right now, it's, we're managing these efforts, and it's taking all of our energy to do that. So not anytime soon, Sean. No, Stephen, exemptions can't be counted as bribes. I wouldn't necessarily use that terminology. No. When people are exempt out, like you're talking about the 7 categories of exemptions, you have to ask yourself, why were they exempt out? Like, not why based upon what government might tell you why. You have to figure out for yourself why. Are they telling the truth, or was it some other reason they don't want to talk about? Political, back and forth, give and take. Could have been. Doesn't make it a bribe. Bribe is a technical term that I don't use often. So. Okay, let me see here. That was some good questions, you guys. Feinstein's new bill is not going to get passed, Carl. Don't worry about it. It's got zero chance in hell of ever getting passed. You've got a Republican House of Representatives there that, that bill again, bull crap like that. It's like you're going to pass a law. You're going to pass a law that says that the courts can invalidate based on Constitution. It goes back to Marbury v. Madison from like the founding of our nation. It's like, it's the dumbest crap you ever seen. But I'm not worried. Again, it would never make it through Congress anyway, so don't worry about that. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. As soon as we have the order tomorrow from Judge Miller in case 3, we will send that out to everyone. We will also make sure that it's available on the website. We will update the list of FFLs that are now covered under these lawsuits and make sure that they are also aware of the list of individualized named plaintiffs in cases 1, 2, and 3. And so they have that all at their disposal. And, you know, let capitalism do its part now, you guys. I mean, again, for the foreseeable future, you're free to go do those things. And I'm going to repeat it. That's what you hired me for. So I did what you asked of me so far, and I'm continuing to do, to the best of my ability, what you asked me to do. No, I don't have any intention of there being a case 4 at this point in time. You know, just I don't see that as, maybe there's another lawyer out there that has a desire to do that or a willingness, and I'll give them all the information they want. I'll just hand it to them. They can have it, and that would be fine. But, you know, I'm not sure. I haven't had any of my colleagues reach out to me and ask that question. Look at Ryan up there. Ryan's typing for you guys. No more cases. Ryan, how many emails you answer a day, Ryan? You know, because I don't know how many messages and emails I get, and I only get a small percentage of what you get, and we talk about them all day long about answering them. So, you know, but that's what we signed up for. Our clients have questions, and we answer their questions, and we give them advice, and we give them direction, and make sure they are understanding what's going on. And, you know, there sadly are people that are involved in some of this other stuff that aren't getting that kind of support, and that's unfortunate. Ryan said he gets 500 to 1,000 messages a day. So, and I know I get probably 200 or 300. So that's okay. We're not complaining. Okay, guys, have a good night. And if you have any questions, send Ryan a message. You know he loves them. Love you guys. Take care.